On your screen, you'll see a list of agenda items that we plan to cover during the session. We'll discuss the program, admission requirements, and resources available to distance learners. We'll also share some information about the University of Alabama and the College of Education. We'll hold a question and answer period at the end of the session. To ask a question, just type it in the text box found on the bottom left-hand side of the screen like this. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Breaux, and she will give you great information in regards to the program.
Okay, everyone. Our program is designed to meet the needs of working professionals, primarily in higher education, nonprofit, sometimes corporate settings, individuals who are interested in seeking a doctorate in higher education. But they want to be able to retain their current position they're in, not lose time, be able to afford their program because they're continuing to work. So we're seeking professionals who are interested in doing that and still remain in their profession, but also join us in research and scholarly work once per month. And we do that in a cohort model where students come together from many places to create a learning community that they work within. Our typical student is really not very typical. We have people who work at all levels of administration, and as I mentioned, we've had people who are nonprofit. They run museums. They work for historical marking type of place in industries. And we have people who work in industry themselves. So our students haven't been typical, but they primarily come from higher education. They're usually director level and above. We've had people from 27 years old. They serve as directors of multicultural centers, of student success centers, through vice provosts, people who really want to have a terminal degree, whether it be for personal self-satisfaction or for promotion purposes. Our students have come from all over the country. Typically, they drive or fly in. Currently, in this year's cohort, we have students from 8 different states. And you'll see on the slide that we've listed a few of the states that our students have joined us from. So it's a real commitment. They fly in or drive in 1 weekend per month. The blended format allows us to be able to do that, that 1 weekend per month session. What we call a weekend here at UA is Thursday evening from 4:30 to 9 p.m., Friday from 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning till around lunchtime, a break for lunch, start back up at 1 o'clock. Breaks are placed within these long sessions, but that 1 o'clock goes till dinner time. We break for dinner, and we go till 9 p.m. on Friday night. And then we meet again on Saturday morning, a quick lunch break until about 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoons. And we do that 1 weekend a month. Usually it's generally the first or second weekend of the month. Typically usually the first. Just work around holidays, and we work around graduations and important dates like that. So it does vary a bit. However, you're given the dates 2 years in advance. You know exactly which meeting dates will be expected of you, so you can work with your supervisors and also gauge your own family responsibilities or professional responsibilities. The other important aspect of this program, which is unique and makes it unique among others, is that we do travel internationally and do have an international comparative higher education course in the summer of students' first year. It's a week-long experience where we spend it. Typically, we have gone many places, but Europe recently, and they visit institutions throughout 1 or 2 countries. And all cohort work begins they begin their coursework in the fall. Our classes are taught by UA faculty, all of our full-time faculty. It's rare to have an adjunct professor in our program. It does happen occasionally, but it's kind of rare because the UA faculty here, the higher ed program, love working with executive EdD students. There's such a richness in the classroom that it's a really high demand teaching opportunity for them. So the same faculty who teach on our campus in our higher ed programs also teach in our executive program. The program is designed to be completed in 9 semesters. 6 of those semesters are coursework on campus, where you're taking 9 hours per semester for 6 semesters. And then the last year is spent working on a research dissertation, where you would defend your proposal in the fall, work on data collection and writing in the spring of your 3rd year, and finish up and defend your dissertation in the summer of the 3rd year. It's an accelerated doctoral program, so it's very intense to take 9 hours a semester for 6 semesters and then do a dissertation. But many of our students, as I mentioned, are trying to complete a professional goal, and they want to do it in the quickest nature they can with the least disruption to their careers or their families. Cohorts are admitted just once per year. We begin in the fall, so this would be, now it will be for cohort 13 for the fall of 2018, and the application deadline for that admission is always February 15th. The program consists of 66 credit hours. Here's where you're taking the 54 credit hours of coursework over those 6 semesters. 9 hours a semester times 6 semesters for the 54 hours of coursework. 12 hours are enrolled in the last 3rd year for the dissertation. Each of the 6 core areas that we focus on where you'll be taking coursework relate to foundational information for higher education, research preparation so that you're learning research methodologies in preparation and completion of the dissertation, administration, students, faculty, teaching and curriculum issues, and problem solving are the things that we really stress and spend time on in this particular program. You'll see a sample listing of the courses that you might take. They change a bit from year to year, but for the most part, this is pretty standard, especially that first semester. Those are the courses that we offer the first semester doctoral students, new doctoral students. In particular, the AHE 601 that you're looking at, Professional Seminar, is a course that I currently teach among others. And basically what it is we are going to improve and brush up on rusty skills that you might have. A lot of our students have been out of school for a while, and they need some brushing up on library skills, writing skills, understanding some of the things that are unique to doctoral study. And each of those courses are taught by our full-time faculty, and those are just some examples of the courses that you might engage in. If you'll see on the summer 9-hour, where it says 9 credit hours, the AHE 560 Comparative Higher Education, that is the week-long international study course. And that slide is just showing you some of the sample listing of the 2nd year courses. And you can see that like AHE 680, Reading, Research, and Higher Ed, these are courses that we're providing you to be prepared to complete the dissertation. And then you'll see the last year are the dissertation hours that you would enroll in while you are actually completing work on your dissertation, and those are for credit. The admissions requirement, here's where we get a lot of questions from a lot of prospective applicants. We do ask for, the graduate school asks for a 3.0 overall undergraduate GPA or on the last 60 hours. But what we're really interested in is looking for a 3.0 or higher in a completed graduate degree program. We're not putting very much emphasis on the undergraduate work because we are looking at what you can do in graduate school. The second piece of requirement is the minimum score of a 300 on the GRE exam, or a score within higher than the 50th percentile on the MAT. Test scores need to be less than 5 years old, so if you took either of these exams for your graduate, your master's degree, which is required for this program, then you would be able to use the test score if it was an appropriate score, if it was less than 5 years old. One of the things I would mention here when I speak with prospective students is that the GRE is a more intensive test in terms of it being longer, more expensive, offered less often. So some of our students who have been out of school for a while feel like they probably are going to need to take the test twice. And so they tend to lean towards the MAT for that reason, because it gives them a little more flexibility, and it's also just a bit more convenient for them. We also ask for three letters of recommendation. These are typically going to be, because executive EdD students are professionals in their field, our on-campus students often provide letters of recommendation from faculty who know them. We don't ask, I think it lists that it asks for faculty, but we're really interested in your work history and the people who know you best in your current position. So the letters of recommendation can be from maybe the president of the institution where you work, or a senior person there that's familiar with your work, or your supervisor. A statement of purpose is something that we're asking you to write to give us an idea on what it is you're trying to achieve with this doctoral study. What is it that you're most interested in maybe learning more about? What are your research focus and interest? Because what we're doing here is we're trying to get a feel for our faculty, which faculty members do we have among us that are a good fit to support you in your research. Of course, your resume is going to give us information on what you're currently doing and what kind of experiences you have. As a learning community and a group of cohort members, we're interested in what you're doing, because what we want to do is we want to create a cohort of people from various perspectives on higher ed institutional campuses. The writing sample is typically, we give you a prompt, and it's typically a question about what do you see are the 5 important challenges facing higher education now currently. And so it gives us a chance to see what your writing skill looks like, and that's an important determinant for us in terms of admissions as well. Most of our applicants are going to have good letters of recommendation. They're going to have good reasons for pursuing this and a good resume. Sometimes the writing sample and the exam score are 2 ways that a prospective student can differentiate themselves to the admissions committee. And then the departmental questionnaire is a small, I think it's a 1-page document that asks you some similar questions, but we use that for departmental decisions.
Thank you, Dr. Breaux.
You're welcome.
As a distance learner, you'll have access to the same resources available to campus students. You are eligible to apply for federal financial aid. Students eligible for military educational assistance may use their educational benefits here at the University of Alabama. Distance learners have access to all university library resources, including access to scholarly databases, assistance with writing and citation, tools and tips for research, and the interlibrary loan program. There's also a dedicated distance learning librarian on staff to assist students as they navigate the library resources. The Writing Center offers online assistance and tutoring to students who are unable to visit the campus location. The Center for Academic Success provides individualized tutoring, study skills workshops, and exam reviews through web-based methods to meet the needs of distance learning students. Blackboard tutorials are available for those who have never taken an online course. Distance learning students have the option to purchase access to the Student Health Center and the Student Recreation Center. Unfortunately, you must be enrolled as a campus student in order to be eligible for athletic tickets. The College of Continuing Studies offers scholarships to students who are enrolled in degree programs facilitated through continuing studies. You must be currently admitted or accepted for admission in order to apply. Applications are accepted year-round, and scholarships are awarded each semester. Apply for College of Education scholarship prior to admittance. Deadline for College of Education scholarships is December 12th. Be aware of that deadline. It's approaching pretty quickly, which is December 12th. Now I would like to share some information about the University of Alabama and the College of Education. The university was established in 1831 as the state's first public college. Approximately 38,000 students attend UA, with about 5,500 of those students enrolled in graduate programs and about 4,800 enrolled in distance learning programs. We are an accredited and reputable institution. The College of Education was established in 1928 and offers more than 20 graduate degree programs for distance learning students. Faculty offices and classrooms are located in Graves and Carmichael Hall. The College of Education is made up of 6 departments. This particular degree program is housed in the Educational Leadership, Policy, and Technology Studies Department. In the next few days, you'll receive an email with information that includes important website addresses and contact information, as well as a link to the recorded session. This concludes our presentation. At this time, we're going to open it up for your questions. Remember, if you have questions, please type them in the text box here, like I'm doing. Thank you, Michelle, for doing that. So if you have questions, please type them there. I will read the question, and Dr. Breaux will answer those questions. Keaton wants to know, for the personal statement, what should the format be?
Well, Keaton, what we're looking for there is a few pages, or even 2 to 3 at the most, about what it is you're trying to accomplish with this particular pursuing of this degree. We're interested in a little bit about who you are. You know, when professors apply for positions, or administrators apply for positions at institutions, they'll ask for a teaching or administrative philosophy. And so I think those are the kinds of things that you want to convey about yourself. If somebody asked me what my personal philosophy, either as an administrator or a faculty member, is, I would say it's really about creating access for students and being committed to creating opportunities for students and then helping them succeed once they arrive. So for you, you would say, so I might be interested in pursuing research along those lines, or what is it that drove you to be interested in pursuing a doctoral degree in the first place?
Thank you, Dr. Breaux.
Uh-huh.
Michael would like to know, are there monthly meetings during the dissertation year?
So during the third year, you are not required to be on campus. So really, you are required to come to campus really 24 weekends, if you look at it that way. And then one orientation session. So 25 times you come to campus. Now, I will tell you that we want to ensure that our students complete this degree. And we find that occasionally students who don't come that third year, we lose track of them because they go back to their offices, they lose their momentum, and therefore we ask students that if you're not making progress, we're going to ask you to come in and meet with your advisor, but you are not required to if you are progressing.
Thank you. In case scales, is the non-credit semester hour format mandatory? Is there any flexibility?
It is mandatory, and the logic behind that and the why we are not able to be flexible is that we're creating a learning community of 10 to 15 people. We need you there, frankly, and they need to be, and we need to be able to, these students want to complete this in an accelerated nature format. So they're doing that so they can get done in 2 years. We keep them together. They take all their courses lockstep, all together. You won't have students from our campus in your sessions at all. The flexibility that UA offers is through our on-campus traditional program as opposed to the executive format.
Brittany wants to know, have there been students admitted to the program in an entry-level position, i.e. going into third year of the profession?
Yes, as long as you have 3 years, it's pretty much what we're looking for. I mentioned earlier that we have people who are at director levels or associate directors. I mentioned that we have people who are 27 years old. And as long as they know where they're going, what they're interested in, and they have put in time in the profession or in a profession with similar interests, we absolutely do admit those individuals. And one of the reasons that we do that, unlike many programs, is that we also want the diversity of different lines of thinking. We want diversity, not just your typical diversity that people think of, but we want people from public institutions, private institutions, for-profit institutions. We want people who work in student affairs, academic affairs, business affairs. We want male-female diversity. We want ethnic diversity. And we also want people who do different jobs on campus. So we want you sitting in a learning community that you don't get the opportunity a lot of times in our profession to learn about what other people do. So we want people who are faculty members sitting next to people who are who might be business affairs people. We want academic counselors to be sitting next to athletic directors or associate athletic directors, because we feel that you're going to learn, in addition to what you learn from faculty, it's going to be enhanced by your colleagues.
And Kelly wants to know, where are the monthly F2F meetings held?
Oh, they are held either in Graves Hall that Gary mentioned earlier, which is where the College of Education, a lot of courses are covered, or we will meet sometimes at the Capstone Hotel, which is they have a conference center at Capstone Hotel right on campus, or sometimes in the Bryant Conference Center. So we kind of vary it up depending on what we will be doing. We have a lot of nationally known guest speakers who occasionally come to our class. We have presidents who come and speak to our students. We do poster presentations. Our students do poster presentations, and we usually invite individuals and dignitaries to those events. So sometimes we do them outside of a classroom setting, but it primarily in Graves or one of our campus conference centers.
Lynetta wants to know, I don't have a current GRE score. Am I too late for the February deadline? I received my master's in 2000.
So Lynetta, you are not, I don't know what the deadline is for to take a GRE, to retake a GRE. Your score is too old because it has to be less than 5 years old. I don't know if you missed my earlier comment, but the MAT is also an option for our students, prospective students for our program, and the MAT is often offered more often. And people will say, "Oh my gosh, I can get one every day of the week in the state of Alabama." Whereas the GRE is very deliberate. You have to register in advance a good bit of time, and they only do it so many times a year. So, you know, that's an option for a lot of students, and it is less expensive.
Kay Scales wants to know, for the writing sample, are citations required, or is the sample simply to gauge opinions about a specific topic in higher education?
Actually, it is both. The writing sample is for us to see your critical thinking skill about a particular topic that's been chosen, but also your ability to secure citations and references of research that's already been done to support your position. It's not something that we're going to be grading it like we would do some of our student papers, but we are looking to look at your research skills in addition to your writing sample and your critical analysis of what your opinion is and how do you support it with documentation.
And Ralph wants to know, does the cost of the program include housing for non-state students?
It does not. Prior to 2 years ago, this week, the second year, we did include the cost of lodging and meals and books. Due to some new Department of Education regulations about student choice and allowing students more choices on where they stay and where they purchase their books, we eliminated that option for students. I will tell you that while we were eliminating that option, and we knew that we spent a great deal amount of money on that for students, we reduced the price of this program by about $7,000 overall because that's how much we were spending for students. Many of our students now find friends to stay with in Tuscaloosa. They look for lower cost opportunities. Some of them do more commuting than they had done before. But we do offer a reduced rate at the Capstone Hotel on campus, which allows you to park your car there and have transportation to Graves Hall without having to purchase a parking sticker for bringing your car to campus. So that's some considerable savings for students. And many of our students really liked us taking care of the lodging for them, and were disappointed because they'd rather have paid extra for the convenience. But we decided to eliminate that to ensure that we weren't in any kind of problem with Department of Education guidelines, and it also made it more affordable for some.
T. Smiley wants to know, if you applied with the last 2 years and did not attend, do you have to resubmit letters of recommendation, or can the previous letters still be valid?
I would think the letters probably would be okay, but if it's just individuals that you are that familiar with, I probably would just have them redo them and just put the new date on there unless something's changed. But I think you'll probably have to resubmit most of your documents, even if they're just a copy or a duplication of what you had before. You do have to go through the whole application process again.
Ralph wants to know, I completed an executive MBA degree that did not include a calculation of a GPA. How is that used in the admission process?
Well, Ralph, I haven't had anyone ask me that before because I'm not familiar with MBA programs that would not provide a GPA at the conclusion. However, what we would do is we would, I think when you would begin the application process, when you uploaded that transcript or had that transcript sent directly from your former institution, the graduate school has ways to evaluate the those kinds of things that they would be able to guide us. So that's a good question, but I think that the graduate school may have to answer that.
Brittany wants to know, is there any flexibility in the GRE score?
Well, the minimums that we're asking for in the GRE or MAT, once again, scores, are set by our graduate school and confirmed by our College of Education. I will tell you that while we have on occasion had conditional admits, they have happened in the past. We have not done that in many years now. So it is an important factor for consideration.
Lynetta wants to know, have active duty soldiers been successful in the past? Concerned about deployments that I can't control.
Well, I can think of one woman who was on active duty. I can't really answer the deployment piece. I think we would probably just try to work something out. But it is something that I have seen students on active duty, as long as they haven't been deployed, they've been very successful. We have had a lot of great success with veterans. Most of them haven't been concerned about deployments, and some of them are also retired veterans. And so we've had a lot of success in this program with veterans, but deployments would be something we would just have to work out as they came forward. And I think that understanding the likelihood of how likely that would happen is important.
Paul wants to know, has any out-of-state students been admitted and have been successful in the program?
Yes, many out-of-state students have been admitted and many have been successful. Since I've been here 5 years, I think you may have seen on that slide, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, California, Illinois, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. I mean, you can see that we really do bring a large number of individuals to our campus, which we're excited about because, again, that adds to the diversity of our program, the diversity and the richness of our discussion in our classroom. So absolutely, yes.
Okay, Scales, I heard you mention that scholarship deadline is December 12th. Is that the deadline for the completed application, including supporting documents? Or can the application be submitted with the supplemental documents forward shortly thereafter?
Well, Gary, I'm under the impression, and you can clarify this on your end, but I'm under the impression that is a completed application, including all supporting documents. And without, I know in the admissions process, if the documents aren't there and we're ready to start looking and make an admission decision, basically the grad school say incomplete, and we won't even look at that. So I'm assuming that would be the same for a scholarship.
Correct, and that's my understanding as well. Deadline is the deadline, meaning all documents and application has to be complete.
Right. I will say for those of you who might be interested, sometimes we'll have people finishing up a previous degree and maybe they don't have their in other words, we're going to be 9 months between starting and finishing another degree you might have already done. And so what they will do is they will indicate that they're finishing a master's degree or something else, and I'll usually know that, and I'll be able to accept an unofficial transcript. And what we would do is we would evaluate your application pending your degree, and we might say we would be willing to admit you pending completion of the previous degree. If you don't complete the degree, then you would probably have to wait a year if you had been accepted.
And Michael's question, I think you pretty much answered it just right before. I'm currently working on my second bachelor's degree. Will my updated undergraduate GPA be counted on the application process, or will only my GPA from the first bachelor's count?
Well, basically, both of them will count for the bachelor's, the undergraduate GPA. But what I mentioned earlier, we are primarily looking to see what your GPA is from your graduate degree. So you do need to have a graduate degree before you are eligible for the doctoral program and the executive EdD program.
And Erica's question is, will a link be provided for all requested information to be uploaded successfully? For example, recommendation letters, personal statements, etc.
If I'm understanding your question, Erica, the graduate school, at the moment that you apply to the graduate school, they open up basically a file for you, and you are able to start beginning to electronically uploading all of the information that's been requested of you. And then I believe that you actually are able to monitor what you're still missing. There's occasions where I'll notice that somebody hasn't sent in their personal statement, and I can send an email and say, we're still waiting on your personal statement, or someone else or the graduate school may do that as well. So once you go into the graduate school system and apply first, I think it's about $60 application fee, you make sure that you check that you're interested in the executive EdD program, not our other programs on campus. And from there, it's a pretty easy, intuitive process where it tells you, begins to start uploading things. And you can keep track of what you're short.
And that is correct. They do provide you the information to upload your documents to make that transition and that process as simple as possible.
Great.
Do we have any other questions?
I would just say that feel free to contact me if you do think of something else. You've got my contact information there, and I'd be happy to visit with you. I also would say that we welcome visitors who might want to come in and spend the weekend, or one class, or two classes, or three, or one day, or an hour with us. And we welcome that. It allows you the opportunity to meet both the faculty that are teaching that weekend and also our students who've already been through this process much like you, and to see how successful they're being. And they really enjoy meeting prospective students. So if you're interested at all, please let me know, and me or Mary Lee Freeman, who's our program specialist, will get in touch with you, and we'll make plans to welcome you.
And we have one last question. Kay wants to know, does she understand that there is space for only 15 people cohort?
That's correct. So we will admit between 10 and up to 15. In the last 5 years, we've not taken 15. We've usually taken somewhere around 12, 13. I'm thinking we're going to probably do about that, maybe 10 to 12 going forward, because those people, like I said, they take courses together in lockstep, and we want rich discussion. and they're doing it in this accelerated manner. And secondly, for faculty purposes on our resources here, we have to have enough faculty to go around to do it well, and to spend that kind of one-on-one time with each individual student working on a doctoral dissertation. So that is our capacity.
Thank you, Dr. Breaux. And my contact information is also available on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I will be glad to assist you and help you with this process as well. And I believe that's all of our questions this afternoon. I would personally like to thank you, Dr. Breaux, for joining us today and taking the time out of your day to help these prospective students
Thank you. My pleasure.
make some decisions. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and roll tide.